Sales is becoming more and more competitive every single day. So in this video, I'm going to show you some of the most cutting edge technology you can use to generate more leads, close more deals, and make more money for yourself. And you want to make sure you watch this video until the end, because these are some of the sales strategies that I've picked up over the years from working at Oracle, a Y Combinator backed startup, as well as starting my own business. So I'm going to distill it to the most important pieces so that you can get the most out of this video. And by the way, I want to give a huge shout out to PipeDrive for making this video possible. PipeDrive is a CRM software built by salespeople for salespeople. So if you want to try PipeDrive for free for 14 days and get 20% off your first year, check the link in the description and let's dive in. Now, the first tip I have for you when it comes to closing more deals is you want to manage your deal flow. This is where a lot of account executives, a lot of account managers, anybody who has to handle any type of deal. The issue that most people have is like they're not really keeping track of what's going on in their deals. Maybe they're using notes or an Excel sheet or something like that, and it's very ineffective. It's hard to update. It's hard to visually see everything that's going on. You don't even know like what your forecasted revenue is going to be. You're just like going in blind and just kind of winging it. But if you're not measuring what you're doing in sales, how can you actually improve it, right? You know, in the beginning, you might get away with it here and there, but then once you start having a real sales cycle, you have a bunch of leads and you're doing a lot of meetings every single day, how are you going to keep track of everything? And this is actually where PipeDrive, a simple CRM, actually can come in. So if you are using PipeDrive, this is essentially what it's going to look like. And here I have an example board of what me and my team do. So here we're going to have an example board of how this all goes down. So essentially how you want to make it as simple as possible when it comes to your sales cycle, right? Whether you're an entrepreneur, coach, consultant, or even if you work at a company. Okay, so let's say, you have some kind of lead generation process, whether it's like, cold emailing or it comes inbound, right? So from there, you're going to look at the person to see if they're qualified. So we're going to start from that point on. Once a lead is qualified, you're going to put them in qualified. So meaning, we have Smart Fitness over here, First Step here. So these are people that potentially may be a good fit for a product and service. Now, we don't absolutely know 100% yet. That's why they have to go through the sales cycle. So from there, once they're qualified, let's say it came inbound, you want to have contact made, meaning you reached out to them via email. You said, hey, I noticed that you signed up for XYZ, and then, I'm a sales rep here, and I just wanted to reach out to see if you had any questions or would love to schedule a meeting to see how we might be able to help each other, right? And then from there, once contact is made, and also, for each deal, you're going to have a potential deal size amount, right? So if you have an inbound form, meaning someone fills out the form, they might have a budget and that number can go there. From once you make the first contact, the next step is actually the demo schedule, right? So you reach out to the person, say, hey, would love to give you a demo or whatever the case is. And the person might say, oh, sure, I would love a demo. So on the demo, you get to know the customer a little bit, you do a presentation, and then from there, you're going to make a proposal to see if once they actually move toward that process, then you do the negotiations and then you close a deal, right? And even when you are in the negotiations phase, you can click that button over there and then you can do deal one. And what's going to happen is it's going to close. You're going to have this really cool animation. Haha, we did it. Okay. And that person is going to be gone from negotiations. And then they are going to go to the winning section of closed deals. So why this is powerful is because you're going to see how many people move through the process. And if you want to drag and drop it, you can just do it like that. Very simple to do. And the whole point of this is this: you have to basically collect data on how you're actually doing as a sales rep. So if you find that you're reaching out to a lot of people, but you're not scheduling demos, then you have to reflect back on, okay, well, I'm reaching out to them with email, with cold calls. Am I following up enough? You're going to see all the mistakes you're making because you're going to see where your cycle is broken. Not only that, but by seeing everything on one page, making it very easy, and they can calculate the total amount of each deal, add them together, you can see what your pipeline actually looks like, right? So if you have a sales cycle of 2 months, for example, you can see like, okay, based on this, it typically takes me, a month or two to close. So by the end of Q4, I'm pretty sure I'm going to hit my number, right? So you basically just need a visualization. And if you're not going to be able to hit your number, you're going to think, okay, well, what do I need to do to increase these numbers? Well, it might be you don't have enough qualified leads, so you have to do more outbound prospecting. So do you want to fill up your sales calendar, right? Having a high level visualization of how you're doing in sales is going to be extremely important when it comes to forecasting. And if you know exactly what you're doing wrong or what you need to improve, you can make those changes so that your numbers actually go up. But if you're just winging it, hoping that you're going to hit your number, but not really looking at the data, then you're not going to know how you can improve. So what you can also do is you can click this forecast button as well. You can see all the deal flow, the total amounts and things like that. So it's a very simple tool to use. You can also do it by list. This is almost like very Excel sheet looking if you want to add data like that. But I like to keep it on this kind of style because you can drag and drop and it's very easy to navigate. navigate. Some other interesting features that you can use when it comes to using this, you can click into a deal and then you can create these tasks or reminders, right? So if you want to call this person later on, you can put that, call, save, and then, PipeDrive will remind you on a certain time that, hey, you need to call this person. So in this way, you can give yourself reminders to make sure you're always on point and nothing slips through the cracks. All right, so the next tip I have for you when it comes to closing deals is you want to have rapid feedback and rapid improvement. Now, the thing is, the more sales cycles you go through, the more experience you get, the more experience you have, the better you are at sales, right? So the whole game is how many deals can you close? How many meetings can you do so that you build that reputation? You can't just expect to do 20 meetings and call yourself a master in sales. You actually have to keep doing it over and over and over and over and face so much rejection, and you start learning from the pain, and you start learning from that mistake. The key every month you should be thinking is how many cycles are you going through? How many deals are you winning? How many deals are you losing? What is your conversion rate from total strangers to paying customer? And then over time, you want to keep increasing that conversion rate until you are the best on your team, or it's something that's comfortable for you and your business. So the way I like to look at this is that every deal that goes through this cycle is going to be a lesson learned, right? So for example, let's say, this deal you lost, right? And you press the loss button. What's cool is that you can give the loss reason and then you give a comment. So this means that for every deal that you lose, you have to be learning something so that you don't make the mistake over and over. So for example, maybe this one is, hey, we went through the entire presentation process, we got to negotiations, but by the time we got to negotiations, we realized they didn't even have the budget. So even we went through the whole entire cycle, the whole time they weren't even qualified to buy. So by learning from that mistake for this example, I would say, hey, next time in the first call, let's make sure we ask the prospect what their budget is so that we don't waste their time, we don't waste our time, right? So these are the learning lessons you need to have. Salespeople that don't make it are the ones that never learn from their mistakes. It's actually very similar to relationships, right? If you don't learn from every breakup or whatever the case is, then you just repeat the pattern over and over. Same with sales. If you don't learn why you are losing deals and why you are also winning deals, you can't replicate that success and you can't avoid those failures. Now, the next tip I have for you when it comes to closing more deals is this. You want to be able to generate more leads. So if we think about everything we talked about in this video so far, it's about understanding your sales cycle, having rapid feedback, and learning from your mistakes. But the thing is, you need to have more deal flow, more in your pipeline in order to have that rapid feedback. So one of the best ways to do that is learn how you can generate an abundance amount of leads. Now, the first step of generating this abundance of leads is actually to really craft and narrow down your ideal customer profile. You can't just email 1,000 people expecting, everyone's want to take a meeting with you. You have to actually do the upfront work to identify exactly who is a good fit for your product and service. Niche down, what industry are they in? How old are they? Where are they at in their career? What problems do they likely have? How do you solve that problem? You want to get as deep as possible so that when you send that cold email or you make that cold call, it's so much more targeted, so much more relevant to them. It's not like a completely out of the blue phone call. And once you have your ideal customer profile, you got to find the leads. And so going back into PipeDrive real quick, one of the better tools that I found is going to be Lead Booster, right? So Lead Booster is essentially an add-on which you add to your PipeDrive account. It does many things, like there's a chatbot, there's live chat, but what I want to talk about is the prospector. So they're going to have a database of 400 million profiles at 10 million companies, right? So this is a lot of people that you could potentially do business with. So once you have your ideal customer profile in mind, you can go into the prospector, identify where they live, what industry they're in, how many employees they have, things of that nature, so that you can start building these lists. And once you start building these lists, you can actually reach out to these people. And a tip I have for you is this. Yes, there's going to be 10 million companies that you can potentially reach out to, but it doesn't mean you send 10 million emails off the bat. You have to test your ideal customer profile. So I would do this. Have a clear ideal customer profile. Who is it that you're actually going to want to do business with? From there, you want to make a list of 20 to 50 people that fit the ideal customer profile. Then you write your cold email and at least 3 follow-ups, or if you do cold calls, you could do that as well. Once you have that, you want to, let's say, send those 20 emails and the follow-ups as well, right? So 3 follow-ups, so that's a total of 80 emails to see what those conversion rates look like, to see if they're actually interested in your product and service. If they are interested, great. Continue to expand the list, use the sales prospector to find more people and add them on, and use the same template. Now, if it doesn't work with that sample size of 20 to 50, what you need to do is go back to the drawing board and really rethink your ideal customer profile. If that's correct, then you want to rewrite your cold email or whatever approach you're using until that conversion rate increases. increases, right? So you never want to scale too big unless you feel confident in your numbers. If your numbers are weak, in the beginning, they're definitely going to be weak when you go more broad. So make sure your messages are sharp. And now the next tip I have for you is you want to really focus in on team collaboration. Now this is very important for salespeople because a lot of times salespeople tend to be a lone wolf. They think they can do everything by themselves, and you technically could. But the thing is, and I definitely learned this at Oracle, selling is a team sport. So when I worked at Oracle, there are people doing just lead generation. Then there are people closing deals. And then you had your sales manager advising you on your deals. Then you had sales consultants who come in when things get very technical, which the account executive has no idea what's going on, right? From a technical perspective. So there's so many different people involved, and Oracle is one of the top tier sales organizations. So that's where I started my career, right? And that's where I really got a taste of like what an enterprise organized unit looks like, where they all make money together, all the sales rep get a commission. Every time a deal closes in a territory at Oracle, everybody would get a piece of the pie, right? Because Oracle understands that everybody needs to be rewarded as sales reps and incentivize everyone for the goal, which is to actually close the deal. Whether it's using a CRM to see what's going on, communicating with the SDR, communicating with the account executive, you always want that information flow. You always want the tips and tricks of what's working right now. And I understand like at large companies, at Oracle, Google, Facebook, there always is an element of company politics, right? So you need that information flow so you know what's up, you know how to get leads, you know what's working. Maybe if someone has a really good template on another team, maybe you can use that and apply it to your particular ideal customer. So there's so many different ways to use collaboration, whether it's sharing information, keeping track of everything on a CRM, or asking for advice when you get stuck on a presentation and so you get an expert to help you out. There's so many things you can do, but the name of the game is collaborating with other people, being open-minded and not trying to go in as a lone wolf. Yes, you can be active individual contributor that gets the deal done, but always learn from other people because there's something to learn, and also pass on that information and teach other people what you know, because karma comes back, and even if it never comes back, it feels good to help other people as well. And so once again, thank you PipeDrive for sponsoring this video. If you want to give PipeDrive a try, use it for your CRM and team collaboration. You can check the link in the description where you will get 14 days for free and also 20% off your first year. So with that said, that is everything we got to cover for this video, and I will see you in the next one.